Okay, it looks like you have information from when you were young, besides the Christmas stuff that we want to talk to you about today. Okay. Tell me about this stuff. Your grade school, where you went to grade school and that stuff.
Okay. It was time to go to school again,
Yeah.
and they handed me 2 books, a Bible and a hymn book. I
And
hadn't seen either book.
At public school?
Huh?
At public school?
What do you mean?
They gave you a Bible at a public school?
No, I went to public school
Okay.
to 4th grade, through 4th grade.
Okay.
Okay.
Columbus? You went to Columbus?
Apparently, a committee or whatever we call it from St. Paul
Yeah.
visited my folks
Yeah.
and convinced them we should go to parochial school instead of public school.
Okay.
Okay, so in fall of the year before school started, they handed me 2 books. 2 books I had never seen before. The Bible and a hymn book.
You hadn't gone to church?
No.
Really? Oh. But then this is 4th grade?
Yeah. So you can imagine how stupid and dumb I was, you know.
We're dumb.
So we went to school, and I probably told some of these things before, but first thing they did was sing out of the hymn book. Okay, I turned to the page, then they start singing, and I was singing different than they were. Yeah, you know already what I was doing.
You went straight down instead of...
Okay. So I was sent for a loop then already, you know. I knew what is going on, you know. Okay. And those things kept, you know, I finally, you make this mistake once, you don't make it the second time, you know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I start to get pretty much along on what I wanted to do, but I still didn't know what they knew. I mean, they had gone. That's all they had is parochial school, and I had none of it.
Yeah.
So you can imagine how dumb I was, or how smart they were, whichever way you want to look at it. And so I had a really cram, and it didn't really do, as I remember, it didn't really do much to take it home. They didn't help me.
Oh.
They
didn't know either, huh?
Yeah, I was the oldest, so the other ones, they were, what he talking about, you know?
Yeah.
And it went on and on and on. Well, finally I got into the swing of things, and I did start doing a lot better. At least I thought I was.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Were you confirmed at St. Paul?
What?
Were you confirmed at St. Paul? All right, well, let me finish this here. So you didn't go to church regularly before that?
Didn't go to church regularly?
Yeah.
Didn't go to church.
At all? Well, you were baptized.
Yeah, well, that way. That was at St. Matthew's.
You were baptized at St. Matthew's?
We lived on State Street at that time.
Oh, okay.
And then the other side of that coin is my sponsors and that were all uncles and that, just, you know,
Yeah.
all church going people. So I got a steady diet, you know.
Yeah. All right. Did you?
I mean, it was a big change from public school to religious school, you know.
How so?
Because you start out the day with Bible studies, you know, go from there, you know.
Uh-huh.
I was a lost son already, you know.
From the bell on, you.
I mean, by half of the day, I was starting to get the idea of what they had already had at the start of the day, you know. Well, eventually, if I remember right, I had Gertrude Schmidt, and
There's a
she
German
was. Let's put it this way: Gertrude Schmidt was one of those teachers that everyone that went through her class, that's what they remember for the rest of their life. I mean, she had a way of planting that in your mind, and you stayed there, you know.
Well, that's a good teacher.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, once you started going to parochial school, did your mom and dad start going to church?
Yeah. I think my mom had with let me think this over.
Sure.
Yeah, I think that as I remember, yes, they did start going.
Okay.
I'm not saying every Sunday.
Yeah.
But like my ma in Clintonville there, they lived just a little bit out of town, and the church was just a little bit in town. So
Okay.
in fact, she went to public school there, or parochial school there.
Oh.
Uh,
She went to St.
So
Martin's?
it's kind of surprising that I didn't, you know.
Yeah. That he didn't go sooner. Did she go to St. Martin's? Dad, did she go to St. Martin's?
Yes,
Okay.
that was Missouri Synod.
Yeah. Yeah. Very similar. Okay.
I'm trying to think way back there, and it's not coming very quick.
That's all right. No rush.
But
What else we got here?
the hardest thing was to learn how to memorize.
Yeah.
You know,
That's hard
let's
for
put
you
it
when
this
you're
way: to
parochial
learn
school.
how to memorize something that you really didn't care if you did or not. when you start out, you know.
Yeah.
Okay, eventually you find out you might as well join the crowd. It's going to change, not going to change anyway, you know.
So you were confirmed?
Huh?
So you were confirmed at St. Paul? Confirmed?
Yeah,
You're at St. Paul?
yeah, it was confirmed.
Okay. Okay.
In fact, I think in the other room there's my confirmation picture, and your ma's too. You gotta go look at your ma's.
I saw it the other day.
I look like a little fifth grader. The pastor had weird rules.
Like, didn't you once tell me that he said you can't wear a red sweater in church?
Oh yeah.
What was that all about?
I'm going to guess it's just strictly personal.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, I remember you didn't wear loud stuff. And remember this, you got to remember here's Morrison Street and here's Durkee Street. There's another church right here, one odd synod, right here. And there's all houses here. Here was the church and the pastors, like that, and then there was homes here. So that kind of was all the way, and there was a great big tree right in the middle. And we didn't venture much after past that, and like I say, I had to try to keep up with the daily change, and you didn't know what was on day 2. I'd learned what day 1 was about. Day 3, I learned what 2 was about. I was always behind. Eventually, I caught up somewhat. I'm not saying I was a great student. I'm just saying that I got to know what to expect next.
Yeah. Okay.
And I think the teachers were. It probably was the best thing that ever happened to me is to have Gertrude Schmidt first.
Yeah.
Everything had to be just so. My handwriting had to be just so. That's where I learned my handwriting. It's not as good as it used to be, but I mean,
Gertrude Schmidt sounds like my Mrs. Keither.
yeah, I would imagine so. She was tough.
Yeah, so is Mrs.
She didn't
Keither.
put up with any crap. You were there to learn, and that's what you were going to do,
Yeah.
But she had a way of doing it, She seen that I had a chance to have a decent handwriting, so she spent time with me, Ed, making sure I did better.
Yeah.
So some of the things, not so much now no more, because but at one time I had a really good handwriting.
Yeah, I remember that.
And it was credit to her.
Yeah.
It was either that or else, you know. It was,
Yeah. Huh.
Because the first, she had 5th and 6th grade, and then Keither had 7th grade all by himself. There it was kind of went backwards a little bit. He wasn't that much of a teacher. He was, and Schultz was 8th grade. He spent much of the day in his office, which was right outside of the classroom like that, especially when the Cubs were playing.
That's funny. That's really funny.
I'm not exaggerating either.
I believe you. Okay.
Keither, I know he had a kid in the room, Stanley Harp. It was a cut up.
Yeah.
And Keither was one of these, if you didn't behave, you got a spanking.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That wouldn't fly today.
And he used to take Stanley out in the hall and come in, and Stanley would have a big smile on his face, and Keither would be.
Was he a big kid?
Yeah, that's the way it was.
Yeah. Okay, so tell me about Christmas when you were young.
Okay. In the basement, you go down the steps, and right there was the washing machines and stuff like that. Down this way was a narrow area. I don't remember what was there. It was dark, and you just kind of stayed out of it.
Yeah.
And on the other side of this was it was a lighted area, and how can I say it? I was telling me about Christmas when I was young.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. There was, my dad had a line up there, and he hung blankets on it. And behind that, he worked on toys.
Oh.
And stuff that we got. We didn't get a lot.
Yeah.
They didn't have any money, you know.
Sure.
It was always somebody else had played with it before, you know, basically what it. I can remember, and boys will be boys, we'd sneak down the steps to see what was going on behind the blankets, you know. And this one year, one time, there was a medium-sized wagon, pretty well beat up.
Yeah.
I don't mean pounded or anything like that. I mean, it was a paint that was going, you know, and this, that. And sure enough, Christmas Eve, Bud got that for Christmas. And Bud had a different attitude on life because of Betty and Ethel Graper.
Yeah.
When they stayed with us and stuff like that. So everything had to be better for him than the rest of us. We were loose. We took. That's the way it's going to be. What the hell? Why make a big deal of? You know.
Yeah.
I'm sure we didn't think of it that way, but you know what I mean. And he got that wagon. He knew right away it was the one that was in the basement and had been painted and you know, stuff like that. And you know, he raised all kinds of hell, as I remember.
Because it was used?
Huh?
Because it was used?
Yeah.
Oh.
See, and he was he was always that way.
Yeah.
Right up to the time, I can almost say right up to the time he died.
Oh, really?
It had to be, what should I say, better than yours?
Oh.
And
Hmm.
because like when they were there, Buddy did that. That was good.
Yeah.
Marshall and Bob, they're assholes, and I mean,
nice cousins you had there.
It was a nuts, but what the hell you weren't gonna be able to do anything about it. And
What's the matter with people?
I don't remember now no more. Christmas when you were. Yeah, okay. Prior to going to St. Paul, it was nothing. Okay.
You didn't even have Christmas?
We didn't even know about church.
Okay.
Okay, we went to St. Paul, and naturally, you got acclimated to it, and you pretty soon understood what was going on, and you accepted it, and this, that, next thing. And we'd go to church, and there was no car, so it was walk about maybe 5 to 6 blocks to church.
Okay.
And a lot of times if your class was singing, well, you knew what you had to do.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you just like at Christmas time, okay, we'd have the Christmas program.
Mm-hmm.
And we'd go through the program and everything and like that, and then when it was over with, we'd start walking for home. And my dad always had to go go someplace, so he'd leave, and then I'm sure my ma slowed down. At least that's the way I remember it. If I'm wrong, I'm probably wrong. But anyway, we'd be anxious to get home, and she didn't care if we ever got there. It was basically the way it was,
Yeah.
And so we'd finally get home, and then there'd just be the Christmas tree would be up, it'd be lit, and all the things that were underneath the tree were there.
Yeah.
And then we went through the process of that,
Yeah.
And I don't remember much of what was there, what wasn't there, this, that, and the next thing.
Were there any?
Like I can remember.
Were there any special traditions that you did?
No, there were no traditions.
No. Oh.
Not that I remember.
Oh, okay.
I mean, we're starting out from scratch. Remember?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, but
Any special foods?
no.
No. Oh.
Not that I remember, anyway.
Okay.
Things got improved as years went by.
Yeah.
I mean, then things would be added to it, stuff like that. But it was. I was trying to think of what a Christmas was before we went to St. Paul. Oh, then it was before we went to St. Paul. You'd get up in the morning and that stuff would all be ready to go and this, that, next thing.
Okay.
And when we were at St. Paul, he always had to go home.
Yeah.
Go someplace else, so he'd go home and take care of all that. I never did figure out where they had hid the tree.
That's true. The tree wasn't up beforehand?
Because you got home, it was decorated and lit up, and it didn't take that long for you to get home, you know.
Yeah. Good point. Huh. Did you have any favorite gifts that you remember?
You know, I don't remember getting anything.
Really?
I don't remember a thing.
You don't remember getting a gift?
I'm sure I did, but
Oh.
I don't remember a thing.
Oh.
Maybe if I sat here long enough, I'd think of a few things.
Let's see what else you got on your list
There
here.
was things that interest you, let's put it that way. Or you needed it for school, or you needed new clothes. Then you got clothes for Christmas,
Sure.
which you needed anyway, you know.
Right. Right. That's true. Heck, I still do that.
Let's see if I could come up with any of this I wrote. Yeah, like I say, I don't remember a thing at Columbus that was religious.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense. Public school.
It seems to me, I remember I had to walk by Zion Lutheran Church to get to school. And the school was a little bit back. The church was out here, and the school was in the middle of the block along that edge, you know. So I don't remember that much about it. Yeah, at 8th grade, that makes sense to you. But apparently something happened, and in the 8th grade, we at a certain time, and I think it was in the morning.
Yeah.
We would walk to Roosevelt Junior High and for classes like printing and let's see, what the hell else was there? Printing. That's all I remember.
Worked until 2.
Maybe that's what it was. Where are you going?
Dentist.
Oh, that's right. Is this going to be your last time there?
No. No. I got the 27th and 2 more visits after that.
picture of Nellie. Those are Mr. Potato Head's glasses.
I'm like, what the hell is that?
Who's that?
Nellie. Nellie. Little stinker.
My second dental appointment this week.
Ugh.
First one I got there, I sat down, she goes, Gus, your appointment's Thursday.
I was talking to Rachel. She said that Dickie is starting to crawl.
Yeah.